If you've been cutting your calories and training harder, but the scales just won't budge, your metabolism might be broken. But when you follow the right plan, you can fix it fast, reignite your fat loss, and finally get your energy back. Today, I'm going to show you what a broken metabolism actually is, the 5 hidden habits that might be wrecking yours, and the exact 3-step plan to reset it, starting today. So full screen the video, lock in, and let's crack on. Now, technically speaking, your metabolism isn't broken, it's adaptive, and that's a problem. You see, it's not malfunctioning, it's actually doing exactly what it's supposed to do. But if you've spent months skipping meals, living on 1200 calories, or years yo-yo dieting, your body is just trying to keep you alive. Here's what's actually going on under the hood. Your 2 main hunger hormones, leptin and ghrelin, are going haywire. Your leptin levels have dropped, which means your hunger has ramped up. At the same time, your ghrelin, which works in counterbalance to your leptin, has gone through the roof. So cravings hit harder. While all that's going on, your thyroid slowed down. So you burn fewer calories at rest, just sitting still. And if that wasn't enough to make things even worse, your cortisol is rising, which means more body fat, more water retention, and worse sleep. Now, here's the kicker. Most guys blame their age. They say, well, I'm not 25 anymore, so this is just what happens, right? But metabolism doesn't actually start to slow with age until you're in your 60s. What actually drops is the amount of muscle you've got, how much you're moving, and the quality and quantity of your sleep. And those 3 things are all choices. They're habits, not a death sentence. It's like trying to run a marathon on a dead foam. I appreciate that's not the best analogy, but what I'm saying is you don't need new legs. You just need to recharge the battery. So let's talk about the 5 habits that drain it the most. Because your metabolism isn't just the number of calories that you burn on a treadmill. It's the whole system. And the chances are at least one of these 5 things is killing yours. Number 1 is chronic undereating. Most guys think they're being disciplined by eating 1200 calories. They think they're going to speed up the fat loss process. But what they're really doing is triggering starvation mode. This is where their body fights back. It slows down digestion. But not only that, it tanks their energy because your food, your calories is your fuel. And it also means that you're going to hold on to more fat. And this is why I don't like the whole eat less, move more thing, because it's just too simplified. When you're doing this, what you're really doing is eating less and losing nothing. It's a trap, and it's a trap that I see a lot of guys fall into. Your energy crashes, your workouts suck, and the scales, they ain't moving. I've worked with guys who are eating like rabbits and training like Marine commandos, and their body just refuses to budge until we gave it what it needs. Anyway, more on that later, but number 2 is low muscle mass. Muscle is your metabolic engine. It's what burns calories when you're just watching Netflix. The problem is if he's not training properly, the average guy loses about 5% of his muscle mass per decade. So it's no wonder that the old school plans that guys in their 30s, 40s, even 50s are still following aren't working, because you're running a V8 engine on a lawnmower frame. Anyway, then number 3 is living a sedentary lifestyle. This one sounds so obvious, but so many guys think they're not sedentary when in reality they are. What I mean by that is that they're training 3 times a week. They're pushing themselves in the gym, but the other 23 hours of the day, they ain't doing anything. They say that sitting is the new smoking. And honestly, I think they're right. It might not smell as bad, but in the long run, I think it's just as destructive. Your workouts might make you feel like you're burning a ton of calories, but in reality, your NEAT, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis, is doing most of the heavy lifting. NEAT is any movement that isn't purposeful exercise. So that's walking, fidgeting, even just moving around the house day to day. And if your step count is low, your burn rate is low, period. So even if you're smashing your workouts every single week, if you're parked at your desk for the rest of the day, you're losing the game, man. And then number 4, and I think this one is very common, and that's chronic stress. Stress is like internal acid. It just corrodes everything. Your recovery suffers, your sleep gets trashed, and your cravings, they go through the roof. And cortisol, which is your stress hormone, tells your body to store fat, especially around the gut. It's like driving with one foot on the accelerator and the other foot on the brake. You're just going to spin around in circles. And then last but not least, number 5 is poor sleep. The thing with each of these habits is that they're all linked. So the chances are, if you're watching this video and thinking, oh, that's definitely me, it's probably not just one of them. But poor sleep is the silent killer, because one bad night tanks your insulin sensitivity. It jacks up your ghrelin and it makes you so much hungrier the next day. In fact, there's studies that have shown that if you're sleeping on average 5 hours or less a night, which is actually a lot more common than you'd think, then you're going to be overeating by 300 calories without even realizing it. Now imagine that every single night for 5 years or 10 years or even 20. That is a metabolic disaster. So before you blame your genetics, just check if you're doing any of those 5 things. Because once you diagnose the issue, we can start working on the solution. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about now. All right, now we get to the good stuff. Here's how to reset your metabolism starting today. Step 1 is to rebuild the base and fuel the fire. So you want to start by calculating your maintenance calories, not your calorie deficit, just your maintenance. If you don't know how to do that, all you need to do is multiply your body weight in pounds by the 13, 14, or 15. 13 if you're sedentary, 14 if you're moderately active, and 15 if you live a pretty active life already. But you have to be careful here and you have to be honest with yourself. That's the number of calories that you want to be aiming for at least the next 14 days. And then when it comes to your macronutrients, which is very much a secondary priority at this phase, I would start by aiming for 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Then roughly speaking, 0.4 grams of fat per pound of body weight, with carbs filling up the rest. So let's say you weigh 200 pounds to keep the math simple. That would be 200 grams of protein for 1 gram per pound of body weight. It would be 80 grams of fat, which leaves room for about 270 grams of carbs. These numbers might be flying over your head right now, and if they are, don't worry. You don't have to nail these, not at this stage. The point is to rebuild the base and fuel the fire, and that starts by eating more. I know you might be scared of eating more. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but trust me, your body needs fuel to burn fuel. Think of it as pouring petrol into a cold engine. You don't floor it right away, right? You warm it up first. Each week, you then want to be increasing your carbs slowly, say by 25 grams a week. And then just watch how your digestion and your energy and your mood responds. That is actually the biggest one of everything, because you know what it's like? If you feel good, you have more energy, you have more drive. I think that's the key word throughout this whole video. It's kind of not even about your metabolism. It's just about getting your drive back. Once you've got that drive back, the things that feel hard, whether it's the workouts or tracking your calories or doing the steps or whatever it might be, whatever you struggle with, it just feels that little bit easier. You feel driven, you feel compelled to do it. And yeah, sure, in the short term, you will gain a little bit of weight. That is fine. We're not focused on that right now. Remember, the focus right now is on resetting your metabolism. This is about metabolic flexibility. So just be patient, because this is only the foundation. Step number 2 is that you don't need to add more workouts, you just need to move more. So here's what I want you to do, and literally everybody can do this right now. Open up your phone and look at your step count for the last week or the last month. Don't just look at one day in isolation. We need to get a bit of a trend here. That average that you've just found is your baseline. Now what I want you to do is aim to increase that number by 10% this week. Then aim to do that every single week until you hit about 70,000 steps per week. The average number of steps that a man in the US and the UK does right now is about 4,000 per day. So the chances are you're doing about 30,000 steps a week. Right now, the idea of doing 70,000, more than double, probably feels unimaginable. Whereas just trying to increase that target by 10% each week, that's definitely achievable. But there's a big difference between aiming to do 10,000 steps a day and 70,000 steps per week, because not every single day is going to be the same. In fact, quite far from it. Very rarely are any 2 days the same. Some days you're going to be busier, some days you're going to be more stressed, some days you're just going to have more on, you might be sick, hungover, whatever it is. If you zoom out and look at this as a weekly target rather than a daily necessity, it's going to stop you going insane. But remember, NEAT isn't just your steps. You want to intentionally be making conscious lifestyle choices. And at first, you have to be intentional, because that's what you're doing here. You're changing your habits, you're changing your lifestyle. But over time, this will just become more automatic and you won't have to put too much mental energy into it. But just think about the simple stuff. Taking the stairs instead of the elevator, parking further away in the car park, playing with your kids, gardening, doing cardio with your partner, whatever it might be. It's all about being conscious and intentional, which leads me nicely on to step 3, and that's that you don't need to be training 6 days a week. 3 full body strength sessions is more than enough. Focus on compound moves like squats, rows, pull-ups, push-ups, bench press, overhead press, and make sure that you're prioritizing progressive overload, which is where you're increasing the amount of volume, which is the reps set and the weight of a lift multiplied together every single week. That means tracking your lifts. Again, being intentional, lifting more over time, and just aiming to be consistent. But training is only half the equation. Sleep is the other half. In fact, it's the secret weapon that nobody talks about. Like we said earlier, you miss a few good nights' sleeps and your hunger hormones go crazy. Your cravings go through the roof. You lose your energy, you lose your drive, and you lose the momentum that you've worked so hard to build up. And it makes you feel like you're starting from step 1 again. And that means that even if your diet's on point, even if you're training hard, all of this is going to feel so much harder than it needs to. And there's only so much willpower that you've got. It's like trying to drive with the handbrake on. You won't get far, and eventually you're going to break down. Training is the spark, but sleep is the spark plug. And without both, you stall. So train hard, but recover harder. Look, the good news is you're not broken. You're underfueled, overstressed, and stuck with a plan that just doesn't work for guys over 35. This is about metabolic priming, getting your body ready to burn fat again rather than hold on to it. The goal isn't to lose weight right now. It's to build a body that looks like it lifts, moves like it's 25, and feels like it's finally running on full power. Because you don't want to lose 20 pounds only to look soft. You want to walk into a room and look like you can handle yourself. You want to be sharp, hard, capable. And that doesn't come from more restriction. It comes from more structure. I've been there. Dieted too hard, felt flat, lost strength. In your head, it makes sense. It's logical. You feel like you have to go through this pain. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but so many guys overcomplicate it and over-engineer it. What's more is that they just dance around the bit that's actually hard, which is having the patience, having the structure, having the discipline to stick to one plan. It took me years to learn that eating more, sleeping better, training smarter was the right approach, because that's not what they sell you in the movies. But now you've watched this video, you don't need to make those same mistakes. Anyway, I appreciate we covered a lot today, so here's where I want you to start. Number 1, calculate your maintenance calories and actually stick to that number for at least 2 weeks. Number 2, build your meals around protein, fiber, and water. Number 3, move every day. Number 4, sleep every night. And number 5, train 3 times per week. The goal here is to build a healthier lifestyle, and those 5 are the foundations. Then, and only then, that's when you're ready to cut the fat without the burnout. If you suspect your metabolism is broken and you'd like me to help you fix it, then click the link under this video and check out how my elite online coaching program could help. Or if you've just stumbled across this video and you've never seen me before, but you've enjoyed this video, click here to check this video out next, because I think you're going to find it useful. I'll see you soon.